Today, we received a call from a train station employee. The voice on the other end of the line was filled with urgency and concern. The story was clear. There was a dog hiding under the station bridge, in terrible condition. He had been there for about 3 days, according to the employee, although he was not exactly sure. The situation was serious and required immediate action. With a distance of over 100 kilometers and a 2-hour journey ahead of us, we knew that time was of the essence to save this animal. When we arrived at the scene, a feeling of profound sadness took hold of us. The air around us seemed heavy, and the desolate scene made our hearts ache. There he was, an imposing husky, lying lifeless, clearly the victim of a train accident. He was in critical condition, with visible injuries and labored breathing. His tongue was hanging out, dried out by the heat and prolonged suffering, while his eyes seemed distant, as if he had already lost hope. As I approached, he made a soft, barely audible whimper, as if he were gathering his last strength to call for help. We carefully loaded him into the car, aware that any sudden movement could make his situation worse. On the way to the vet, the silence inside the vehicle was broken only by the husky's weak, intermittent breathing. He was exhausted, and each minute felt like an eternity. But even in the midst of his pain, he surprised us. Although he could barely move, his demeanor was incredibly friendly. Despite everything he was going through, he showed no fear or aggression, just a look of silent gratitude. We knew we had to do everything we could to save him. When we arrived at the vet, the harsh reality hit us hard. The initial examination revealed the worst. His spine was severely damaged, with fractures that would leave him paralyzed. But that wasn't all. An ultrasound revealed an even more worrying condition: intussusception, a potentially fatal intestinal obstruction. The situation was critical, and the vet prepared us for the worst. The chances of survival were slim, but we couldn't give up. On the second day, fear took hold of us all. Vova, as we decided to call him, vomited twice. The vet told us that this was a very worrying sign, and the tension grew. I felt helpless, afraid that he wouldn't make it. The fear was palpable, but we refused to give up. I asked everyone to pray for him, to send him positive energy, because we needed a true miracle. 7 days passed, and Vova began to show signs of recovery. Although his condition was still serious, his appetite had returned, which was a good sign. However, there was another problem. His urine was stagnant, indicating that his urinary system was still compromised. On the 12th day, another setback. Vova's hind legs had no sensation at all. The paralysis seemed to be permanent, but we remained steadfast in our mission to give him the best possible quality of life. The 20th day brought a small victory. With physical therapy sessions 3 times a week, Vova began to be helped to stand up, although with extreme difficulty. His muscles were weak, and any movement was painful. However, this small progress represented a lot. Vova was fighting, and each effort was proof of his will to live. By the 35th day, he was visibly stronger. Although he still could not stand up on his own, progress was being made. He began to demonstrate his loving personality, charming everyone around him. His love of cakes became one of his most striking characteristics, and his tenderness towards children was touching. Vova, despite all his suffering, was a gentle giant. On the 60th day, something incredible happened. Vova tried to stand up and, for the first time, made a movement that indicated he wanted to run. Although he could not, the simple fact of trying filled our hearts with hope. Vova was showing an inner strength that few could imagine. He was determined to recover, and we believed that miracles were possible. On the 81st day, Vova was introduced to his new wheelchair. At first, he was confused, not quite understanding how it worked. But over time, he began to adapt, and soon he was moving around with its help, rediscovering the joy of exploring the world around him. On the 100th day, we celebrated a victory that seemed impossible. Vova was alive. He had beaten all odds, defied the odds, and proved that the impossible can be achieved with love and dedication. Finally, on the 145th day, Vova was completely transformed. He was reborn. That dog who had arrived at the train station on the brink of death now radiated joy and vitality. He had a new sparkle in his eyes, and his future promised to be filled with love, affection, and a life full of happy moments. Vova's journey was a testament to strength, resilience, and, above all, the power of love. Thank you to everyone who supported us on this journey. Vova is alive, and nothing is more precious than that. He has shown us that with dedication and hope, even the darkest moments can give way to a new life, full of light and possibilities.